Hello, viewers. I'm SB, and welcome to Norco. This is a science fiction, Southern Gothic, narrative point-and-click adventure kind of thing. You know, one of those. And it is receiving rave reviews from the kinds of people that I generally listen to about this kind of stuff. So I'm very eager to see what is in here myself. I mean, every one of the terms before the word game there is something that excites me. But before we get into it, I do just want to say a little bit of a content warning here for some heavy themes. In particular, the game itself, when you launch it, throws up a warning about there being depictions of suicide in the game. So, you know how to manage your own risk on that stuff, just so you are warned. And I guess from there, let's see what's happening down in Norco. Norco, Louisiana. Shield hid the stars behind halogen and flame projected onto the sky every night. There was no such thing as silence. The noise never went away. The refinery exhaled an endless sigh. I feel like that's the sort of thing you could get real inured to, actually. I still can't sleep without that sound. Oh, I love the style of the art. In your dreams, the towers were grand cathedrals, places of worship. The swamps hid behind mirrors like spies. The birds transformed into radiant spheres and traced omens above the highway blight. You spent your adolescence sleepwalking between little devastating rituals. Though Blake pleaded, you decided to leave. And I hoped he'd get over it. I knew he'd get over it. He never did. You caught out on a grainer to Chicago and onward to the West Coast. You'd never left Louisiana and thought you'd never return. You thought the ghosts of the lowlands wouldn't find you hiding along the road. The years carried you through overlit suburbs of the vast American limbo, across mountains, above cell towers. Thumbing down 99, you saw an old man crouched in a roadside ditch. He was mouthing your name. He had a familiar gaze. He was gone when you wiped the sleep from your eyes. You spoke to Blake, learning of your mother's declining health, her insomnia, her erratic behavior. You ignored the urgency in your brother's voice. By and by, you made your way east. You threw your phone into the Rio Grande. You joined the armies of the Mesa. For months, you were in the company of fugitives. You slept in nuclear tunnels, repairing engines and weaponry. The war was a meme that set Albuquerque on fire. You escaped while the foot soldiers of a pop-up junta bloodied the parched land. While hiding in the berth of a freightliner, this feels... I guess we're sort of making a decision here about our character's religiosity. I think I'm gonna say I slept. I feel like maybe there's something in this avenue, in this arena that we left behind long ago, maybe. While hiding in the berth of a freightliner, I slept. You slept easily as the trucks shuttled through the plains. You called home from a landline in a motel somewhere beyond Texas. You knew from Blake's hello that your mother was already dead. You hung up, shouldered your bag, and returned to the highway. 5 years had passed. The ghosts were calling you back home. You awake from a delirious dream to find yourself in your childhood bedroom. Monkey watches you from the corner, with that accusing glare. assume that was a notification on our laptop that we just heard, but let's look around a little bit first. Okay, there are some examinables in here. You assume Million has been keeping the plants alive. Among the books on the shelf is a slim volume called Crisis LARPing. I almost hesitate to engage, but alright, let's have a look. The proto-disaster tourism began almost as soon as the floodwaters left. Punks from across the country ventured into the Ninth Ward, Gentilly, St. Bernard, and finally the East. They curated a theatrical self-portrait of their lives in the ruins. The aesthetics of disaster were central to that emerging milieu. It began to percolate into popular culture. Collapse became the zeitgeist. Wise investors recuperated the experience of disaster. New Orleans became a plastic dystopia, a marketplace for crisis. Oof. That's a little real, huh? I can see why people are responding to the quality of the writing and just like the world building, but also, ow, my heart. I suspect that's only going to get worse, by the way. A flyer from a show your friend put on a few weeks before you left town. A fight broke out while one of the opening bands played. Yeah, I got whipped in the face with a bike chain. Listen, I was just standing there minding my own business for the most part. For the most part. You still have a scar above your left eye. After the show, you and Blake shot fireworks from the roof of a hotel on Poydras Street. Sleepless and sober, the two of you walked back to Norco. You watched the sun climb over the grain elevators. I have to say, like getting wounded at like underground shows and like local punk scene shows is definitely one of my personal fondest memories of youth. So I want our character to have experienced that as well. What's up, Monkey? Ooh, I don't love that. Monkey, your best friend. A childhood gift. You spoke with him often when things got difficult, but then you left. He sat here for 5 years collecting dust. 5 years. His eyes fill with anger as he challenges you to return his gaze. That is what I'm picking up here. Staring contest part 1. Glyphs. Glyphs will appear and flash a pattern. Match the pattern to meet Monkey's gaze. Oh. Alright. I guess I'm ready. I wasn't expecting there to be gameplay here. You successfully meet Monkey's gaze with a cool assurance. However, his expression is unchanged. Who would have thought? You stare more intensely. Rings. Circles will appear over Monkey's eyes. An outer ring will shrink to the perimeter of the circle. Oh no. Click the circle when the outer ring locks into place. Yeah, alright. I am more likely to screw this part up. It happened real fast. Your stare was no match for Monkey's. Can I please... There we go. Anger melts from Monkey's face. Yeah, let's take... Now that he looks a little bit more neutral, let's take him with us. Now that I am no longer self-recriminating via this monkey, I feel that it is safe to have around. You drape Monkey over your shoulder. Mind map. You. I mean, I am home again. Because your brother needs you. Because your mom died. You were traveling. Across the Rockies. Probably like down the Pacific coast makes it like I'm trying to think about you're escaping Norco, which is around New Orleans, or it's part of New Orleans. You're trying to like find the greater world. Heading west makes a lot of sense to me. I guess you'd go across the Rockies to get to the Pacific coast. Let's say, yeah, I was traveling across the Rockies. Your friends went south, and you were glad to be alone. You spent long nights along those highways in a shitty sleeping bag. You bathed in rivers. You watched the ocean of outer space. You watched the satellites travel along their course. Then, down the Pacific coast, presumably. Summer days arrived. You built a bike in a garage in Eureka and took it south. Generator shows on the beach. Interstate on-ramps teeming with personalities. The familiar smile on the face of the old man in the Central Valley ditch. That smile burned its image into your eyes. Yeah, apparently I still recall it very clearly. I probably went through the Midwest eventually. It kind of seems like I went all over. The freight cars rattled in the cold dusk as you crouched on the grainer porch. The cell towers peeked over the flat country, translating the notions of the world. The lights of suburban Memphis, the fences, the traffic, the stark shadows under a lavender blanket of clouds. Afraid, tired, silent, and alert at each terminal, you watched the night decay for miles. Do people generally consider Memphis to be in the Midwest? I guess I think of the Midwest as being the parts that are pretty far north, probably on account of that's where I'm from. Then what? You rode in the back of a van wedged between amplifiers from Chicago to Des Moines. You stole a heater from Walmart and brought it to the poorly attended house show. Des Moines to Kansas City to Denver. Let's go ahead and just finish this thought. So now that I have these things highlighted in my mind map, I can see they're connected to other stuff. The Ditch Man. The smile of the man who crouched in the ditch of the highway revisits your mind. His head was smudged with Wednesday ashes and mascara ran from his eyes. Is that what that is? Your brother is oblivious. I think this, like, we're sort of like feeling for the source of the disconnection here, right? We're trying to make sense of the fact that we were able to just sort of like bail on him in kind of a cold way, honestly. This way feels more like admitting that it's my fault, which I'm more comfortable with. Your grandma once said that she didn't expect much from Blake. She said he was short-tempered, oblivious, and couldn't focus. Blake was sitting in the chair across from her, staring down at a tablet. After she left the room, you asked him how he felt. "I feel fine," he said. "Why?" "Well, because of what Gran said," you responded. He looked confused. "What did she say?" So, oblivious, maybe also a lot. Like, I wonder to what degree here we're, like, crafting the truth, and to what degree we're remembering a truth that is present whether we remember it or not, you know? There's two very different styles of narrative engagement, and I think, like, they both could be the thing that's happening here. So, I'm gonna not say is a lot. I'm gonna dismiss this thought. And I'm kind of curious, like, if we don't have that thought, does it sort of, like, change the arc? I mean, we don't have to wait for the game to tell us that. We can decide that for ourselves, I suppose. Your mom. Yeah, well, it does seem to be what happened. The cancer metastasized. It was in her liver, then her lungs, then it was in her brain. She was on chemo, never finished her third course. At the hospice on Jefferson Highway, Blake said the traffic shook the building. He left before she drew her last breath. Alone with the morphine drip and the rattling glass. That's how Catherine died. Oof. Yeah, let's maybe get out of our own head, shall we? What's up, Monkey? How you doing? Monkey stares at you. You stare at Monkey. I do not need to play the staring games with Monkey again. A sticker from grade school, half peeled from the window. All right, I suppose it's time to see what that notification was. The laptop your parrain gifted you idles on a Charlie particle board desk. Now that could be a domain-specific word, something that we'll discover the meaning of in a second here, but I'm going to look it up real quick, because I do not know that. Oh, it's French for Godfather. Okay, so it's probably... Listen, my French accent is atrocious. I'm not going to try to pronounce that correctly, but that N's probably way softer. Let's wake it. As the screen illuminates, you notice that the signal in the house is dead. No internet. It looks like Blake was using the computer at some point. He left a browser tab open. I can't not look. Oh, this is cool. So wait, am I going... I'm going... Yeah, okay, let's go to the top of this thread. Archived all YX2Q posts at SCP Anglers. Huh. I wonder if SCP has the meaning here that I'm used to. Okay, it's the bad part of the internet. I'm concerned about Blake. Wanted to run something by you, gents. Was knocking out a sack of lake in the spillway, saw a big round glowing thing in the sky. I mean, they're joking about how you saw the sun. It sure does look like the sun in this picture. Yeah. So, again, there's probably going to be a lot of, like, French and Creole and stuff here, and my French ain't so good, and I've definitely never been to New Orleans. This is the word for milk, right? I think. Nothing like this but birds in them swamps be acting weird. Looked like it was made of glass, maybe. Would glow real bright, then not at all. Moved fast. It's the best pick I could get. All kinds of shit been happening out that way. So maybe something strange is happening out in the swamp? Maybe. Or maybe somebody's high and they saw the sun. Quack Job is a terrible name for an app. Do not. Okay, this doesn't necessarily... I mean, it gives us a little bit of, like, background color on the kinds of places Blake is hanging out on the internet. Maybe not so good, honestly. I don't think we're ready for an overworld yet. Let's stay here in the underworld. Your mom's unfolded laundry. Oof. A letter from Shield Oil sits atop a stack of mail. Dear neighbor, please be advised. There will be elevated flaring at the site of our number 5 stack near Good Hope on the evening of Thursday, March 19th. This will pose no health risk to residents. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact the Shield Norco Office of Community Engagement. A family photo album. This might... Oof. The fact that the unfolded laundry is still sitting here, like, I don't know exactly how long it took us to get back, but, like, obviously Blake's not... I mean, who would be in a good state, I guess, but... Alright, we're gonna look. We're gonna look at the heavy stuff. Yellowing pages of disposable photographs. Your grandfather, a peculiar look on his face, impossible to read. Your mom staring at Blake through the obscure lighting. He's dressed as a vampire, tugging at someone's waist. Pleated khaki shorts. A photo labeled Duck. Scene of a barbecue on the lakefront. The man at the center points playfully at the camera. His face is obscured. Turn the page and there's Blue. Your father, though you've never thought of him that way. His skin stained by the sun, a canister of dip shoved into his front pocket. His easy smile, his knowing eyes. You set the book aside. let's see what we remember about our well, you know what? Let's go blue first. Let's go blue first. Blue. Seems like a vague memory. You don't remember Blue, just the things he left behind. Photographs, cologne, tools, the name that your mother kept. Even the pictures that have survived are too faded to make out. Yeah, I haven't necessarily kept much of some of my direct relatives either. Your life gets so full of other things, you know? Your grandfather, Peter Pops Pierre Melancon. He passed away when you were a teenager. He seemed to court controversy, though as a child you never understood why. Duck, an old friend of your mom's. Your memory of him is scattered and vague. Weird. Memories of sleepless nights, the dull refinery hum in the red halogen half-darkness. Your mom sitting here staring through the window. There was a tension in her demeanor, as if you were interrupting some urgent and obligatory task. You'd continue to the kitchen with no words exchanged. I thought she hated me. She was thinking about Blue. She barely knew you were there. Okay, narrator. It's getting a little personal over here. Interesting that we don't have the ability to examine or have any thoughts about this thing up here. The old window AC unit. The heat of spring will soon arrive, and the mildewed air of the window unit will fill the room. A photo of your mom holding Blake as a baby on a beach in Pensacola, Florida. It's winter. You stand beside them, bundled up and laughing as a gust of wind rakes the beach. The sky is bone white. You peruse the titles on the bookshelf. Fence-line diaspora. That's interesting. In the end, we decided to leave Dimes. It wasn't the cat cracker or the smells or the fear for our children's health that drove us away, though they played a part. Truth be told, it was the media attention. The spokespeople and activists and academics and all this. I was done with it. I was done being a poster child, done being thought of as a victim. I wanted my experience to be my own, not something to gawk at or dissect in a laboratory. What about the western margin of the lake? This is such a neutral title, I cannot even imagine what kind of book this might be. Many tragedies have come to pass along the western margin of Lake Pontchartrain, probably. The unnamed hurricane of YW9D left the settlements of Frenier and La Branche in a state of unrecognizable destruction. Those who survived did so by clinging for their lives to the limbs of cypress trees. This is a date, maybe a year? The fables and secrets of those communities lie with the bones now scattered in the sediment of the lake. How about critiques of deliberate externality? S.H.I.E.L.D. has acquired much of Norco's most flood-resistant land through a variety of mechanisms. Madere and Moore argue that one such mechanism is a process of deliberate externality. This theory posits that key corporate decision-makers encourage the company to emit effluent and noxious substances into the environment with the explicit intention of decreasing neighboring property values. This compels residents to sell their properties below market value to relocate as quickly as possible. The criticism that this theory often receives is that it diminishes the importance of slavery in situating black residents along industrial fence lines up and down the Mississippi River. In the words of Carter, slavery was the deliberate externality from which S.H.I.E.L.D. continues to profit. Pollution was never needed. True, but miserable. And if that ain't the phrase of our times. Does this TV work? You turn on the television. A chaotic distortion of your mother's memories flashed before you. Yeah, I could take my mind off of some heavy shit for a while here. What's on TV? Maybe a more pleasant. Even our fiction's just kind of about how everything's fallen apart, huh? I am beginning to suspect there is no comfort to be found here. Let's go into the kitchen. You're always frightened by the laundry room. I think it feels very common to me to have, like, for a little kid, to have, like, a space in their house that just feels scary. You wouldn't go so far necessarily as to say it's haunted, although maybe yours felt haunted to you. But it's just like, there's a corner tucked away somewhere, or part of the basement, or we had a little utility room around the back of our apartment that, yeah, that was bad. It felt like bad news in a way I could never really define. You've discovered so many dead cockroaches in this microwave over the years that it's discouraged you from using it. Sure, yeah. For several months, a dead baby roach was stuck between the clock's display and the protective screen, blocking the hour. Blake finally shook the microwave aggressively enough that the roach fell into the guts of the machine. Comforting stuff. I am very thankful that I've not had to deal with many roaches in my life, because gosh, I am not... That's a problem for me. Your mom's painkillers are spilled across the counter. That's definitely concerning. Let's head up to the attic before we going all the way outside. There used to be much more clutter up here. You imagine your mom gave it away as the end approached. I don't like how quiet it is up here. This is unpleasant. Okay, back please. It is remarkable how, like, all it takes is turning off the music to make that area feel hostile. Alright, what about the backyard? Let's take our first step outside for the day. Hey there, Million. Million sits in her characteristic slouch, lost in thought. Her carapace has taken on the rusted and weather-worn quality of the rest of the machinery in the yard. You recall the night that your mom showed up with her. You and Blake stayed up past dawn, poring over pirated API docs. Her ragdoll mask was slumped on the floor as she wrote the routing procedure. You wonder if such memories hide behind the constellation of her eyes, behind her constellation of eyes. Yeah, can we see her face? I'm really curious. The robot regards you casually. I would like to say hello to the robot. Okay, yeah. Kay, you're awake. Yeah, I couldn't sleep. Catherine used to say the sound of the refinery helped pacify you. Perhaps that is no longer true. In any case, I'm certain I was no help. She gestures toward the motorcycle at the edge of the carport. I was turning over the engine on that bike to test the coils. It was quite noisy, but they're in good shape now. All I need is a fuse, and we can use it to get around while I finish repairing the truck. I heard the phone ringing inside, but I had my hands full. Where might I find a fuse? The gas station just up the road has them, but you may have to persuade Troy to let you in. Were you expecting a call? Many people have been calling since Catherine died. Your brother is usually the one to answer the phone, but I don't know where he went off to. Yeah, I wonder where he could be. Likely at the bar or bookstore, if I had to guess. Why would so many people be calling? Seems like a strange question, because, like, condolences and stuff, right? And your mother left behind a lot of loose ends. From what little I know, I gather she was conducting research for a client in Fat City. I sense that many people would like to acquire that data. A client, huh? I am unaware of where she has hidden it. Perhaps Blake knows its whereabouts. Wait, who is this client? No, I haven't a clue. These aren't things she discussed with me. As the cancer spread, she became more guarded with her research. Huh. You know, she always kept strange company. You remember that guy Duck? An occupational hazard, I suppose. So who exactly would want to see this data? Your mother spent her entire life researching this town. She knew histories that others have forgotten. History has a lot of value in this place. Change of subject for some reason. So anyway. No, you know what? That's all. This truck was your grandfather's. You remember riding in his lap while he let you steer. The dead wasps that collected behind the seat. The smell of grease, whiskey, and nicotine. You and Blake would drive the truck into New Orleans on the weekends. No AC, windows down. The rattling chassis was deafening going 75 on Interstate 10. Million has been slowly repairing the vehicle since your mom's death. Your mom's old 4-cylinder 350cc bike. It has extensive rust and wear. A steel pry bar lies on the ground. Well, it feels like that feels like such a video game thing to pick up. I'm really surprised that we did not gain an inventory there. A disintegrating crab net. Blue taught your mom how to make these, and your mom taught you. In the summers, you'd bike to the suction before sunrise. The chicken necks to the bottom ring of your neck. Tie chicken necks to the bottom ring of your net. Submerge it, and sit there nursing your coffee while the swamp raised its voice. You'd come home with a dozen or so crabs snapping and writhing in a burlap bag. You assume your mom hadn't been out on the water much this past year. Yeah, that seems likely. So Blake's just out for the day, huh? Wait, what is just walk to Mary? That is creepy. You observe the weathered concrete and flaking paint of the statue. I just can't imagine where much the praying sort at this moment. Inspect further. The face is especially deteriorated, framed by a system of cracks. That is certainly the case. I find it quite unsettling. I do not wish to be here anymore. Cat! Your mom fed the neighborhood strays. They must be hungry since she passed. Well, shit, I should probably do something about that. Do I have an inventory? I don't... Here, what does this do? This is just the options menu. Liner notes? Okay, that's really interesting. You do not see that very much in video games. 3 times this house is flooded. The first flood is a shadow of a memory. Placing your feet down on drenched carpet, your mom and grandfather ripping out sheetrock, sitting in a small RV in the backyard setting dolls on a cluttered little table. The second flood, you were 14. The pumping station failed during a heavy rain. You were in class watching the clouds move upriver. You got a text message from your mom. Stay in Destrehan, I'll come get you. For 2 weeks, you shared a hotel room with your mom and Blake. She spent all her days gutting the house. In the evenings, you would sometimes help. The third flood was another pump failure. Your mom hired contractors with the insurance money. She said she was getting too old for it. You were bitter. You blamed her for not selling the house sooner. You stayed with friends in New Orleans. Wait, the fourth flood? The fourth flood will follow a slow hurricane, and it will be a calamity. It will leave the entire region submerged as critical levees breach. There will be a massive blackout that lasts weeks. Much of the sewerage infrastructure will be damaged beyond repair. The embattled federal government will do nothing to assist. It will bankrupt the region. Small militant enclaves will form along the high ground of the Mississippi River. They'll take to piracy and hijack commercial shipping vessels. Private mercenary forces will retaliate in kind. Slowly, industry will flee this hot zone. The old river control structure will collapse from neglect and sabotage. The Mississippi River will again change its course. Norco, an old abandoned refinery town on a ghost of a river. Your house will be squatted and then raised. America. Yeah, I guess. Maybe we can walk down to the gas station? I hope it's within walking distance. Hey, kids. The turtle! He crawled out the trash can. Don't touch him, see? He's dirty. No, he's not. Turtles are always clean. They live in water. Trash water is not clean. We gotta go, see? Just let me stare a little longer. He's pretty. He is pretty. So we're here on Apple and 3rd. Padu Private Investigators. We snoop for you. That is what the sign... That's terrible. I would never use a private investigator that had that on the sign. The snowball stand is closed for the winter. Same building as the... Okay. Let's, yeah, can we get inside? The lights are on at Padu Private Investigators. You knock. No answer. Yeah, I mean, there's clearly... Okay, that's fine. Let's go to the tavern, I guess? See if maybe Blake is here. The Floodgate Tavern. Many shield workers gather here after their shifts. It's closed. Should be open later in the evening. Okay, well then probably Blake is not here. What about the discount store? So many evenings spent watching traffic pass by this gas station. Little has changed. The neighboring business still sits abandoned. The surrounding streets are quiet and empty. Well, well, well. Look who's back. What happened? Carnival forget you beside the road? And you even brought your little doll. Okay, hey, don't trash talk Monkey. He's mean. That's cute. Yeah, I'm back because my mom died. Maybe this'll get him to back off a little. You're not that stupid, are you? Catherine, she too valuable. They'd never let her die. If anything, she's probably vacationing on a hard drive somewhere. Dude, get lost. You don't get it, do you? You're lucky you got someone like me to break things down for your dim-witted ass. Your mom was excavating all along the rim of the lake. She used to pay me to help from time to time, matter of fact. She needed somebody smart. Somebody vigilant. Somebody like me. Especially with shields snooping around. I've seen some wild shit out in them swamps with Catherine. Obviously, my immediate opinion of this dude's pretty negative, but hey, what harm can letting him talk a little bit do? I won't bother telling you about it. Might hurt your brain. And anyhow, this ain't story time. Not letting you in this gas station. Goddamn company that runs this dump did me dirty. They swapped me with an ATM machine for speaking truth. Ain't letting nobody through till I get an apology at the very least. Yeah, man, that sucks. I'm gonna try to avoid getting into a direct confrontation with Troy here. Don't patronize me with your weak pity. you really want to get through, you go give me some of them pills your brother was selling. That might persuade me. I don't want to fight Troy. Troy, he looks... I can't tell. Maybe this perspective is meant to imply that we are approximately the same size as Troy, but I don't know how big my body is or what shape I'm in. I just feel like it was a bad plan. Yeah, shuffle off then. He seems like a mean-spirited dude. Batur, what is this? Hey. A drifter and presumably their horse? A man sits on a pile of flotsam, his head buried in his canvas jacket against the sharp air. Stupid horse. The man's gaze stays fixed on the opposite bank of the river, never turning to you nor the horse. Yeah? He spits on the dirt at his feet. You know what all they dump in that water? Hell of a cocktail. He spits again, wiping a string of mucus onto his sleeve. What you out here for, anyway? Anyhow, ain't you heard they got a criminal on the loose? Bringing the law around here, making things harder for the rest of us. You best be sharp, young one. Yeah, I try to be. What's the deal with this horse? A lone horse drinks from the stagnant water pooled along the riverbank. Okay, it's just a horse doing horse stuff. A memorial languishes in the river mud. A 2x4 cross, plywood plaque, cairns of pulverized concrete. Sprayed haphazardly onto the plywood is a remembrance. Here passed the brave freedom fighters of January XW11, whose cries of liberty echo through the generations. In much smaller lettering, a different hand has scratched "fake" across the bottom of the plaque. Okay, well this is a scene. I mean, I guess we could go get Troy some of our mom's painkillers. I don't know, fuck it. If it gets him to leave us alone. You pocket your mom's pills. Just maybe try not to give him enough to do any real damage to himself. I mean, that's just fully the wrong button. Hold on a second. Let's just go up to the overworld. There we go. You got me them pills? It's the only way you're getting through. Yeah, I got your damn pills. Smart move. I'll let you cross the picket line this time, punk. Thanks, dude. Huh. Wonder if this place is familiar? I mean, I would assume it is. Dusty bags of dog food line the shelf. I would like a fuse. Do I have money? Fuses hang on the shelf. Well, I detect that you have merchandise in your possession. You must remove any unpurchased items from your backpack and scan them in order to exit the store. Okay, drag the item from the inventory menu to the intended target. So I do have a proper inventory. Oh, right, there's a backpack button. Yeah, I want to do this, please. You scan the fuse. Thank you for your purchase. Oh, did I... Okay. It's real easy to purchase stuff. The magic of the future of capitalism. Just buying shit by accident. Protein bars, bubblegum, breath mints, taffy. Yeah, just kind of general candy. You wonder if this place ever started checking IDs. During high school, friends in the city would drive all this way just to get booze. The disembodied illuminated head of the kiosk levitates silently in the browser tab. Good evening. How may I help you? Do you know Troy, that guy outside? Thank you for your inquiry. I am forwarding it to Perilou & Sons LLC. Perilou & Sons LLC has declined to respond to your inquiry. So, why'd Troy get fired? American Discount Southeast Incorporated prides itself on its outstanding mentorship and jobs training program. American Discount Southeast Incorporated works to ensure that each franchise location provides opportunities for career growth. At American Discount Southeast Incorporated franchise locations, we leverage automation and machine learning technologies to enhance the lives of all employees. To apply for a position at any American Discount Southeast Incorporated franchise location, please visit American Discount SE-ADSE today. I'm good, thanks. Alright, let's get the bike repaired so that we can maybe get a little bit further away. Walk around to the back. Hey, look what I got. You got the fuse. Good. We'll be able to use the bike to get around town until I'm done with the truck. It concerns me that Blake still hasn't returned. He's been spending a lot of his time at Sarpy Paperbacks lately. Perhaps we should look for him there. Yeah, let's go do that. The sky bleeds a color you knew as a child. Airline highway passes beneath your feet. Million has joined your party. Oh, cool. Interact with party members by clicking their portraits. If you're stuck, they may be able to help. What's up, hint system? Million shouts over the wind. The bike runs much better now. You can use it to get around during your visit. So how's Blake been? The year that you left, Blake became uncontrollable. His behavior troubled Catherine deeply. He was beginning to remind her of your grandfather. After he was expelled from Destrahan, he began running drugs into the parish. He made himself many enemies. He put those things behind him after her illness, but now that she's gone, I'm uncertain what to expect. Yeah, this place can ruin people. Perhaps. I think our characters at this point carrying probably at the very least a fair amount of survivor's guilt, but probably a fair amount of guilt in general, I think. And so it's very easy to hear recrimination in that, perhaps, right? And like we intentionally ran away from that responsibility in the last dialogue choice. So I think it makes sense to like get defensive, like reflexively defensive. I won't apologize for leaving. No one is asking you to, Kay. How have you been? I am always the same, Kay. Always the same. Well, is that bad or good? Whichever you prefer. Fair enough. So what's it been like around town? S.H.I.E.L.D. has been expanding since you left. Catherine took your grandfather's boat into the lake to investigate reports of construction in the swamps along the shoreline. She assumed it to be unpermitted S.H.I.E.L.D. activity. She was unable to find any evidence of it. However, it was clear that she found something during that investigation. What was it? I don't know. Perhaps you do. Well, I haven't spoken to her in years. How would I know? Has Blake not mentioned anything? Nah. We may believe this, but I'm not going to say it in this moment. In any event, something drew her to the lake in the months before her death. Yeah. We need to have a conversation. Where could Blake be, do you think? He spends much of his time at Sarpy Paperbacks. Perhaps we should check there. Yeah, sounds solid. So we can just kind of end the ride whenever. Okay, you know what? This feels to me like the beginning of the next chapter. I think let's hold here for the day. that's going to be it for us for now. Thank you all so much for watching. My hope is to have another hour of this, another hour of gameplay here up tomorrow. So come back next time for that, and we'll see you then.